How's it going, guys? My name is Zach with the Movie Castle, and today we're going to be talking about Big Trouble in Little China, the comic book series, Volume 4. This one is entitled, I Hate the 80s. Once again, we are published by Boom Studios, or Boom Entertainment, which one? Boom Studios. And on the back, we get a nice picture of Jack there, and Jack to the future. I guess I should specify I won't be doing any major spoilers during this review for Volume 4, but I will feel free to spoil Volumes 1 through 3 as well as the movie. So this one, if you remember where we left off last time, Jack Burton defeated Lopan and escaped from hell. However, because time passes differently, by the time he gets out, it's no longer the 80s. He gets out and it's 2015, I believe. And his body's been preserved due to some magic, thanks to Egg and Wang there. So he's, not terribly old, but he is displaced out of time. He wakes up inside of a exhibit, and now he has to go and find his friends, see what happened to them, and get the Pork Chop Express back. Now, if you remember, I mentioned this at the end of the last video. Here's Volume 3. And we can see the creative team, John Carpenter on the story input, Eric Powell, Brian Carilla, Moore, and Duarte there. And if you look at this, Fred Van Lente, Joe Eisma, and Gonzalo Duarte is still the same. But other than that, it's a new creative team, and it doesn't have John Carpenter listed as a story consultant. So right off the bat, I was a little concerned for this volume. I had really been enjoying the series so far, but finding out they got a whole new creative team and the lack of John Carpenter really made me concerned, but I really shouldn't have been. This is still a pretty steady book. One bit of trivia, I mentioned this last time, the cover for Volume 4 is printed on the back of Volume 3. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump right into the book. And first off, if you know this channel, credit where credit is due. There's the menu, or the credits, keeping the same motif from the previous volumes, but they scratched out "and the Pork Chop Express," so it's Jack Burton and what? But anyway, Fred Van Lente's the writer, Joe Eisma did the art. The colorist is the same as the last volume with Gonzalo Duarte there. Letters by Ed Dukeshire and cover by Eric Powell. I think those two are the same as well. And the further credits down there and the Boom Studio credits off to the side there. But anyway, flip it open, and another thing you notice, these chapter plates, there's a picture in the chapter number which is the same, but they've gotten rid of the chapter name right here, which is a little odd because I believe the chapters still do have names. If we flip into here, this chapter is called Big Trouble in Little Tokyo, or I Hate the 80s. And I'm kind of wondering why they didn't just print that on the front as well. Maybe the chapter plates were more prominent and in turn they felt like they didn't need them. I don't know. But this movie, or comic book rather, opens up with Jack Burton in the Pork Chop Express, but it's painted to match this shrooms thing, whatever that is. So, time has passed, someone's changed the truck. He's getting chased by a helicopter covered in these, I believe they're called kappa, little turtle people. And inside the truck, he's got this new girl. Now, who is she? How did she get here? Well, like most of the times where you open in an action sequence, it goes with the classic "but how did I get here" thing. And then we do a flashback to the beginning where we left off last time. and you see the gas station where Jack was once held as an exhibit. The guys there waiting, it's all empty. Jack has left, and these guys turn up looking for Jack. Their group is kind of a parody of the A-Team there. I think they're called Alpha Force or something. Yeah, not 100% sure if I remember their name, but parody of, lots of 80s tropes for these villains. You get a parody of a pop star, a parody of an 80s action movie, and this guy will only talk in grunts, and sometimes it'll translate it, but only for you and me. It won't let the characters know what he's saying. You get this guy that looks like a combination between Jason Voorhees and a James Bond villain. He's given the funny trope of always wanting to build his own gadgets and trying to get them for cheap and telling you what parts he used and how cheap he made the thing for, which I'm not really sure if that's parodying some 80s villain. I don't know if that's just a funny quirk they gave it. And then you get the classic sci-fi robot, but this one has a weird little quirk of only being able to say, "That's what she said," and being just kind of, repeating this same joke over and over and then going beady, beady, beady. So you get this 4 characters. They find out that Jack's gone to San Francisco and in classic 80s fashion blow up the gas station and walk away from the explosion. Now, Jack goes to Wang's and finds a young woman there, and at first he just thinks Miao Yin has aged very well, but he quickly finds out that this is not Miao Yin, but Miao and Wang's daughter, Winona Chi. Now, they never say this directly in the book, but granted all the 80s influences, I'm betting she was named after Winona Ryder, huh? But anyway, you see Wang there in the back, rather, and you find that over time he has gone bald. His wife left him for someone else, and he's been kind of depressed, but he's kept the restaurant going, and his daughter is stuck around with him, so it's not all bad. But you meet another character, Eddie, who's been living in the basement. He was married to Margot, but she disappeared, and you find out that before she left, she took her story of what happened and released it as a novel called Big Trouble in Little China, so we're getting some meta humor there, and the novel was apparently turned into a cult hit movie, so there's actually the movie's poster, and Jack goes, "Hey, they got Snake Plissken to play me, I love that guy," so acknowledging that there. I know there's a Big Trouble in Little China / Escape from New York crossover comic. I wonder if it will get brought up that Jack knows the Escape from New York movie. Well, he says Snake Plissken to play me, so it's either he knows Escape from New York, or in this universe Snake Plissken is an actor. I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see if this plot thread is brought up again when they do the crossover. But fun bit of meta humor, fun bit of referencing the movie. But you find out she, before she disappeared, made a bunch of other books about her adventures. Big Trouble in Little Armenia, Little Haiti, and Little Calgary. So, fun thing there. But they can only have fun for too long, and soon Jack demands to get his truck back. So they go to see Gracie, who's a big-time lawyer now, and she says, well, the truck was sold to this guy, which is why the first trouble is called Little Tokyo. He's a pop culture enthusiast. He will, walk around in this Camino, or is that it? Yeah. But he's locked himself in his tower and won't come out, but he's collected a whole bunch of things from 80s pop culture, and that includes Jack's truck. So they have to go in and get it, and they bring up this fun bit. They're like, well, he doesn't look Japanese, and you find out he's not. He's just a huge nerd that, even though he's not actually Japanese, is obsessed with Japanese culture. So they have to go and break into the tower, but of course the guys from earlier are going to show up, and it's going to be a big struggle for that. She also wants them to break into the tower to steal some information from him and take down this guy's big network that's becoming quite a problem. But there are some really fun sequences. I don't want to spoil all the action, but you get like this big Rubik's Cube room later on, and you do get to see like where he wakes up. There's a bunch of, cool 80s stuff, and there is lots of parody of 80s culture in there, big Ronald Reagan poster and Whence the Beef in reference to the Where's the Beef ads, and a bunch of little things that you can look at in the background, or sometimes more direct references. But yeah, I really did like this volume. I really had been digging the previous runs, and I still, I would have liked to have kept the same team, and I would have liked to, still had Carpenter story input. But that being said, it wasn't as bad without them as I thought. In fact, it really isn't even bad. It's not really that different. They kept it going. I feel that any little differences there were, the fact that they chose to do a time jump at this point was really a smart move, because you expect things to be different because you're in the future, so you're ready and raring to go for that new world they're presenting. So if they did a new world saga at the same time they had a new team, and you don't notice as bad that everything's changed, and it's consistent, which is surprising. It is still really good, and the fact that they're going in such a different direction. It's not as much about mysticism. It's about the Jack being in the new world, and you don't get as much jokes about that as you think. He's not wandering around going, what's this, what's this? In fact, it's kind of funny. You get to see Jack be cynical of the future. Wang tries to sell him on it, and you get he's like, look, a cell phone, look at how many things he does, and he's like, I don't need all that, that's more stuff than I need constantly disturbing me, and it's just fun to see Jack go and not be impressed by the future, because so many times that's the gag, is that they're overwhelmed by the future, and he's just kind of like, meh, things aren't that great. So that's really cool that they took a different spin on the man out of time trope there. But yeah, overall, really fun, and glad to pick it up. I went to my local comic book shop, and I got Part 5 and Part 6, and I believe these are the last two of this run. Not the last two of Big Trouble in Little China comics overall. After Part 6, there's a crossover with the Escape from New York comics, which I'm really looking forward to, and I'm hoping I can find. That's a great concept, too, of Kurt Russell's characters meeting each other and, being total opposite ends of the spectrum. Sounds hilarious. And then after that, they have, I believe, 3 volumes of Big Trouble in Little China Old Man Jack, which is old Jack, but way into the future, and he's a grumpy old man, or is he grumpy? I don't know how they'll play that, but looking forward to that as well. That'll be fun. But anyway, gotta read Volume 5 and 6. I won't let it be as long a gap as it was between 3 and 4, but I'll get to them very, very soon. Anyway, to everyone who's watched so far, thank you for watching. To everyone who's liked and subscribed, thank you. You are really helping the channel out. I do a comic every week, and other than that, I do like 95% horror movies on here. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I recommend sticking around. At the end of the video, a relevant playlist should pop up. This should be my comics playlist where you can find all the other reviews for this series, as well as some of the other cool things I've done, like the Blade Runner 2019 comics and some Stranger Things stuff. But anyway, have a good day. I'll see you guys again very, very soon. Comic book playlist at the bottom. Have a good day.